History was made on day 2 of the papal conclave when an American-born Robert Francis Prevost was named Pope. He'll be known as Pope Leo XIV. His election comes days after the passing of Pope Francis on April 21. Cheers erupted as the new Catholic head emerged on the main balcony of the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome on Thursday. On day 1 of the conclave to select the new pope, it was evident no decision had been arrived at. Plumes of black smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel. But by day 2, a new pope would emerge, evident in the white smoke from the chimney. Not an African cardinal, as some would have hoped, but historic nonetheless when American-born Robert Francis Prevost, who will be known as Pope Leo XIV, emerged on the balcony at St. Peter's Basilica on Thursday. Prevost, born in Chicago on September 14, 1955, spent much of his life in Peru and Italy and was considered by NBC's Vatican analyst Christopher White to be someone who, quote, knows the Vatican and knows the world, end quote. Starting as a missionary with the Order of St. Augustine in St. Louis at 22 years old, the new pope studied at the Pontifical St. Thomas Aquinas University before his ordination in June 1982. Just 2 years later, he was sent to Peru, where he served in diverse roles and ultimately, under Pope Francis, was named Archbishop of Chiclayo. His deep ties to the country were sealed when he became a Peruvian citizen in 2015. In 2023, Pope Francis brought him to Rome to lead the Pontifical Commission for Latin America, and he's been given another heavyweight assignment as prefect of the dicastery for bishops. In this role, he has overseen sweeping reforms, notably integrating 3 women into the panel responsible for forwarding bishop nominations to the pontiff. His acceptance speech lauded his predecessor and signaled hope and continuity for his legacy. The pontiff speaks multiple languages and, as many suggested, he's similar in many ways to the late Pope Francis.
We must seek to be a missionary church together, a church which builds bridges, dialogue, open to receive all of you in this huge square that we have, all of you who, and all of us who need our presence, dialogue, and love.
And if
I may, a few words in Spanish.
A todos aquellos,
I would like
y en modo
to
particular,
all of those
a mi
who,
querida
in
diócesis de
particular,
Chiclayo en el Perú.
have come from Peru.
Thousands of well-wishers and members of the Catholic community assembled in St. Peter's Square for the momentous occasion. Frustration is boiling over in Sav Lamar, Westmoreland, where business operators along Great George's Street are crying foul over what they describe as neglect by the local authorities. The issue, uncleaned drains and stagnant water that's driving customers away.
It's not the rainy season, but the sidewalks tell a different story. Here along Great George's Street in Sav Lamar, business operators say stagnant water and unclean drains have turned the town's commercial heart into a no-go zone.
Because the water is stagnant, it smells, and so the people, they can't even come into the store. It floods, it's not running, and the drainage around the back is blocked. And so whenever it rains, it's terrible. The whole road flood out.
They say the issue has persisted for months with no visible action or even a response from the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation or the Mayor, Councillor Dan Reed Delancey's office.
Well, I have complained several times to the Parish Council, and they seem to be doing nothing. Every day they're getting funded here, funding there, and nothing seems to be forthcoming. But I think if the drain is cleared around the back, then so the water can let off and go to the sea, then I think it's going to be better. But for now, it is difficult, it is hard. The people can't even come into the store when it rains.
With sidewalks on both sides of the street rendered unusable, pedestrians are forced into the road, creating not just a business dilemma, but a safety hazard. Residents say the stagnant water is also a breeding ground for mosquitoes, heightening concerns over public health.
Well, when the rain starting, it's like a flood right here, you know. The doctor show me from the phone, I'm take a picture. The rain start, no business, everything. Nobody can walk. I have actually use a starlet sometimes as like a leather to really go through. It's very bad. And right now, at the moment, the rain has started, but right now there's a flood now at the water. But I really like them to clean it. And the field said what really caused it, the drain, nothing for a long while, so the mud on top, you know. They want dread like
the summer and when the rain fall, all the water come in, go straight through in our shop. We have to wait till it dry. It take like an hour or an hour and a half till the water dry. You go over that side, walk where people drop over there every day. So if give them water to wash off, see the lady shop with some. When the rain come down, she can't go in. The sidewalk can't use again.
With businesses losing thousands of dollars in potential sales and safety becoming a growing concern, residents are calling for immediate intervention before the situation worsens. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
The opposition People's National Party is sharpening its focus on healthcare reform, with its spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, unveiling a plan to revamp emergency services and strengthen community care. He zeroed in on chronic disease management and infrastructure development while responding to citizens' concerns at a recent PNP town hall. Here again is Courtney Lewis.
The People's National Party continues its bid for government as opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, introduced a new approach to transform Jamaican healthcare. The doctor prescribes as the first order of business a revamped emergency medical service.
And we will expand it so that you will have proper ambulances outfitted with trained first responders. We will stabilize patients and take them to different levels of trauma centers. And we will now look at how we're going to develop a comprehensive trauma center system across Jamaica so that no matter where you are and you're in an accident, you will have quality health care just a few miles away.
With non-communicable and chronic diseases on the rise, the opposition remained critical of the current screening programs. Instead, Dr. Dawes recommends deploying healthcare workers into communities, contending that many cancers and diseases are preventable.
The community health aides will be retrained and sent out with point-of-care machines so that they can do screenings themselves at churches, community events, schools, or even going into homes and checking to see what somebody's sugar has been like over the last 6 months. You don't have to be fasting. The technology exists where we can tell you then and there, with a few drops of blood, whether or not you're diabetic, how bad that diabetes is, whether you're pre-diabetic, and then we can make the necessary interventions so that you don't become diabetic.
Managing illness was only one aspect, as alleged infrastructural inadequacies were not lost on Dawes. The doctor claims that proper auditing of medical facilities have ceased since the last PNP administration.
And it is no surprise that now we're seeing mold crises across several clinics and hospitals because of poor maintenance. We're seeing bathrooms kept in poor conditions, and we're seeing a lot of hospital-acquired infections. We want to have a national quality assurance board where each hospital will be audited and to ensure that there are certain standards that are maintained.
And in addressing issues of negligence in Jamaica's healthcare facilities, Dr. Dawes says the fault is not lack of competence, but rather resources. Dawes adds health professionals have been given baskets to carry water and pledged that the PNP would not only provide adequate support, but also incentivize professionals with scholarship opportunities.
And it means retraining all our staff to get them to understand and to buy in. Commensurate with that, we have to give them the tools. And when we give them the tools, we build in the accountability with the audits from the National Quality Assurance Committee that we're going to implement.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
This now is a follow-up to our main story. Archbishop of Kingston, the Most Reverend Kenneth Richards, shared his excitement and that of the Catholic community in Jamaica following the election of a new pope. He describes the historic move, a new day for the church, with the theme of continuity and love for all, started by the late Pope Francis. A welcomed move that a cardinal from the global north and the global south was Thursday elected from among 133 cardinals considered to replace the late Pope Francis, who died last month. The victor, a new pontiff, is from North America with strong ties to Peru and with much support and guidance from the late Pope Francis.
The work of the church continues, and essentially it is the work of Jesus Christ. He is the representative of Jesus Christ. All of us are in leadership in a ministerial way to guide the church. And so we continue, as I mentioned, and which is a feature that he highlights in an intentional way, is listening to the Spirit. And we continue to listen to the Word of God.
He notes the importance of the name the Pope has chosen.
Leo XIII was very instrumental in formalizing and documenting the church's social teaching in an encyclical called Rerum Novarum. And it was about change and about the need for due regard be given to the laborer. And so that the document challenged capitalism, challenged socialism, unbridled capitalism and socialism, and was highlighted the importance of unions to represent the workers and their interests.
Traits which he says will likely be found in this new Pope's tenure.
It is also a building on what Pope Francis has started, with his own commitment and interest with the people on the margin, that we must smell the smell of the sheep, that we must be journeying with the people. And he mentioned in his opening remarks one of the themes of Pope Francis, synodality, which is the way in which the Holy Father, Pope Francis, was calling the church to recognize how important listening to each other is important. Listening to the Word of God, listening to the Holy Spirit, but listening to each other, and especially giving particular attention to listening to those voices that often are silenced.
And now for what's happening overseas in regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. The head of Cayman's new National Coalition for Caymanians government, Andre Ebanks, was on Tuesday challenged for the job of premier when the People's Progressive Movement nominated its own leader, Joey Hugh, for the role. Ebanks emerged the victor after a secret ballot by the newly sworn-in members of government and opposition, which ended in an 11-8 vote. This recap from Cayman Compass.
Newly appointed Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Andre Ebanks, will be leading the National Coalition for Caymanians, a partnership between the 4 elected members of his party, the Caymanian Community Party, 3 independent members, and 4 members of the Cayman Islands National Party, which includes Georgetown South MP Gary Peanut Ruddy, who will be serving as Deputy Premier.
To the opposition, it was in the Speaker's remarks that we would like, myself and the Speaker, and also the NCFC, a advocatory environment and not an adversarial environment.
Mr. Ebanks expressed his vision for working in harmony with the civil service to achieve the goals of the NCFC.
But it is to do so in a way in this administration that is not to badger you into our position. It is to inspire you into the vision and help you advise us of how we're going to get from point A to point Z.
In St. Lucia, massive amounts of sargassum seaweed have invaded the island's shores. The Goodwill Fishermen's Cooperative Society says it plans to appeal to the National Emergency Management Organization to declare it a national crisis. Here's HTS News Force.
According to the cooperative's operations manager, Kijiana Tuse-Shalri, the dense layers of seaweed have forced fishers to remain on shore. The large quantities of seaweed reportedly entangle fishing lines, leading to costly repairs and hindering fishing activities.
The major issues that fishers encounter, especially with that high level of influx, is damage to their propellers on their engines, and replacing a propeller can be sort of an expensive venture. And so that is what the reality is on the ground. We've not seen that amount of sargassum on that side of the island for a while. So it's also in terms of the quantity that we're seeing in such a short space of time.
And in international news, US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer have unveiled details of a US-UK deal, the first since the US announced global tariffs. UK PM Keir Starmer called it a fantastic, historic day. Currently, most goods imported to the US from the UK face 10% tariffs. More from the BBC.
I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter, the special relationship and external bond. It's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever before. And we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional. And it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular the Prime Minister. And I'd like to introduce him now to say a few words. Mr. Prime Minister, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries. And I think it's a real tribute to the history that we have of working so closely.
Skin bleaching and hiring, a topic often steeped in controversy. But can an employer legally reject a candidate simply because they've chosen to bleach their skin? In this week's edition of Query This, Shante McNeil explores whether job seekers have any legal recourse if denied employment on that basis.
Query This. You apply for a job, you're shortlisted, you aced the interview, but then you're told you were unsuccessful. You met all the requirements, but somehow others, even those less qualified, made the cut. And you're convinced the only reason you were denied is because you bleached your skin. Could that be considered discrimination? Does Jamaican law protect against this kind of hiring practice? And would you personally hire someone who bleaches?
Yes, I would. Because it don't have anything to do with my work, as long as they are doing their work. And I employ them to do my work, not to discriminate the color of their skin.
I wouldn't hire the person to work on the front page. I would rather work the person, let the person work in the store, behind the doors.
So it just depends on the company policy. You know, if they have a policy, we have to look a certain way. So your skin can't, if they don't have bleaching skin or them policy, you just can't bleach your skin, but for work, when they allow that, I'm all right with it.
No, I don't think it's right for you to employ somebody who's bleach. I don't think it's right. I believe that you're supposed to employ people with their own image.
You know, people try to discriminate them on them things, but at the end of the day, everybody deserves a chance and so, you know.
We took the matter to legal experts who say the key issue is whether the employer's action qualifies as discriminatory conduct under Jamaican law. Labor lawyer Carla Ann Roper explains that it often comes down to the nature of the job and whether the employer can justify their decision. But she says if no valid reason exists, discrimination could be in play.
The issue of discrimination is dealt with by our supreme law, our constitution, and that is not one of the areas that is covered in terms of there should be no discriminatory conduct. There is religion, there is political affiliation, race, creed, and under the Disabilities Act, you shouldn't discriminate against somebody because of a disability, but that is not one of the protected areas. So it's really coming down to a question of proof and evidence.
And if you so happen to have those, Roper recommends speaking with an employment lawyer to assess your legal options.
because the question is, what do you really want? Would you want to be placed into that job? Is it that you are fighting for, the particular placement? So you would first commence by bringing this information to the attention of the prospective employer and say, we take the view that your behavior is discriminatory, and we invite you to enter into discussions with us to provide redress. If that does not bear fruit, you'd really have to consider whether or not there is some area within the constitutional provisions, which is where I believe the best remedy would lie, to make a claim before the courts against such an employer.
Still, Roper admits justice in such cases is hard-won, as the issue is deeply subjective and difficult to prove.
Our laws within Jamaica have not developed as far as other areas in the world, other countries, in terms of discrimination law. So it's really very challenging. Our laws are still in a stage of growth and evolution in this very murky waters of discrimination.
As the law continues to evolve, we invite you to share your legal concerns at cmacneil@cvmtv.com. I'll help connect you with the tools and the people to better understand and navigate your rights. Until next time, I'm Shante McNeil.
And off now to the business report with Joel Crossgill.
Lots to share with you in the business report today. From the launch of the Caribbean Investment Forum, CIF 2025, under the theme Smart, Green, Connected, designed to accelerate economic transformation and unlock high potential opportunities across the Caribbean, supported by 4 pillars of focus: green economy transition, digital transformation, sustainable agriculture, and logistics and transportation. Dr. Damie Sinanen, Executive Director, Caribbean Export Development Agency, issued this clarion call to investors across the world.
Jamaica is bold. It is a country with an ambitious vision to become the Caribbean logistics and investment hub. It has a growing digital economy, a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem, and commitment towards climate resilience. There is no better stage to highlight the Caribbean's investment readiness and economic potential than Jamaica. We, as a Caribbean region, really need to band together to work with our partners and to really try to push the region forward. We have to do it, and we have to lead the charge.
Just how bold Jamaica's ambitions have been, even in the face of adversity, was described by Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce Senator Aubin Hill as a crucial component of broader regional success.
We're all small, but together we can do a lot more. Some of us will lead in different areas. Guyana clearly is the leader in per capita GDP. 3 years ago, there were 17,000. Last year, the year before last year, there were 20,000. Last year, there were $91,000. They are off the screen. They are the outlier. But Guyana is in Caribbean. They have only 780,000 people, 215,000 square kilometers. Lots of space for all of us to participate with. And Guyana really wants to be the food center of the Caribbean. We're going to grow food in Jamaica, but boy, they have land. So we must make sure that as we build this together, that smart, green, connected, we connect everyone. This is a much better Jamaica than 10 years ago. This is a much better Jamaica than 5 years ago. I put it to you, this is a much better Jamaica than even 3 years ago.
Shalette Cox, President, Jamaica Promotions Corporation's JAMPRO, among the most influential of the 20 agencies under the minister's portfolio, also spoke of the alignment CIF 25, scheduled for July 29 to 31 in Montego Bay, shares with the specific ambitions of the agency.
The forum's theme, Smart, Green, Connected, resonates strongly with Jamaica's own vision for our country, as well as the region's shared aspiration for resilience, inclusiveness, and sustainable growth. As we work to transition toward green economies, expand our digital infrastructure, build robust logistics networks, and modernize agriculture for food, security, and export, the Caribbean Investment Forum could not be more timely or more necessary. We also recognize that the future of our region and our country depends on how well we work together to position the Caribbean as a competitive, investment-ready destination on the global stage. JAMPRO's partnership with Caribbean Export is built on a shared commitment to promote competitiveness, facilitate private sector growth, and attract sustainable investments.
While Her Excellency Dr. Erja Ascola, head of the European Union delegation to Jamaica, Belize and the Bahamas, spoke of Jamaica's role in positioning the Caribbean as a future-facing region.
Our common goal is to promote trade, investment and private sector development in this region. The reason for this is very simple. These three elements are the most powerful engine for development, for growth and job creation. CARIFORUM EU Economic Partnership Agreement is already delivering. It is a reciprocal but asymmetric, development-oriented free trade agreement. Having this agreement guarantees that the EU market will remain open for Caribbean exports. There are currently no tariffs, no quotas, and there will be no tariffs and no quotas on Caribbean exports, any goods. And I will repeat, there are no tariffs and there will be no tariffs. On any goods made in the 14 IPA partner countries, including Jamaica. And we are not talking about any market here. We are talking about a single market, a huge single market of 27 countries and 450 million consumers with relatively high purchasing power. Access to this market and duty-free access to this market is something that matters for investors.
And as Minister Hill confides, Jamaica's audacity in providing an enabling environment continues to evolve.
We're building an ecosystem, a legal ecosystem, to make sure that all the services that Turks and Caicos, Cayman and Bermuda offer, British Virgin Islands, will come here. Many Jamaican lawyers and accountants do the business there. I've just passed through the Senate and the Parliament the law to make sure we have segregated accounts in Jamaica. We have partnerships limited and general. We're making sure the trust arrangements are here and clear so that the legal system, matched with a freely converted currency, a strong legal judiciary system, is here for people who want to do heavy financial transactions. The last thing that I'm going to tell you about, we've just in the process, just laid in the Parliament this week, something I'm going to give you a preview on, the large-scale Project and Pioneering Act to make sure anybody who brings in $1 billion or more will get statutory legislated benefits, incentives, so that you come to Jamaica.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
Let's continue with football news. The knockout stages of the CASAFA Ray and Nephew Major and Championship Leagues kick off on Friday at the Constant Spring Field with 2 matches. In the first match at 6 p.m, New Kingston take on Seaview Gardens in the Major League semi-finals, and Jamaica Defence Force will face Olympic Gardens in the Championship League. Despite not having a proper playing field, New Kingston won their way into the semi-finals of the Ray and Nephew CASAFA Major League with consistent performances throughout the season. And at Wednesday's press launch of the knockout stage of the league, for which CVM TV is the media partner, Coach of New Kingston, Richard Bryan, expressed confidence that his team will go all the way.
You asked a major question just now, mentally and physically. I'll answer one out of both, which is the mentally. Physically, we won't say we are there like that. But as I'm telling you before, it's a team, this is a club that we don't even train as you guys or the other teams do. No, we don't have the facility to do that. But through all the players and the quality players that we have, we can put them together, mold them, and get results.
Their opponents, Seaview Gardens, got their berth into the last four with outstanding efforts from their young and vibrant team. And according to their president, Earl Pinto, the team had the full support of the community.
Unity is very good. The community has come out, the supporters, especially parents, because their sons and grandson are playing, and it shows the commitment of the community in coming forward in supporting these players. You know, they're very enthusiastic, and, you know, the excitement, you know, whenever they get the ball and thing and a goal score, they always, you know, come out to really cheer and thing, and it's very good.
The Championship League semi-finals brings together two past National Premier League outfits, Jamaica Defence Force and Olympic Gardens, both trying to regain those former glory days. And according to Raymond White of the JDF, the team is getting there.
Well, when you have a team, you know what I mean, you have to rotate. Rotation is a must within a team, and sometimes, you know what I mean, players don't have a good day. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have an on and off day. So maybe at that point, you know what I mean, the team just didn't feel or didn't just come out on that day. So just that one half day that I saw, that 1-1 draw, that's just a downfall for that day. But temperament and determination that, you know what I mean, discipline that we have our opposite at JDFFC, we moved on from that and look at us right now.
Olympic Gardens, like the other championship teams, will be looking for a spot in the National Premier League playoffs by winning the title. But they must first overcome the Soldiers. So says midfielder O'Neill Williams.
Well, definitely it's going to be a hard one. You know, JDF is a running team. So the mindset has got to be, oh, we're going to get to that game. And to be honest, the training session from week, we're doing some works, some set piece and thing. So definitely we're going to do our best to make sure that we get past this obstacle.
Live coverage of the semi-finals and final for the CASAFA Championship League will be on CVM TV. The first semi-final is set for Friday and the second set for Saturday, with kickoff slated for 8:30 p.m. The final is set for next Saturday. Now it's time now for our regular magazine feature, On Court. St. George's Slayers, one of the nation's top basketball teams, will be seeking the unique double, mid-season and league champions. After winning the mid-season title, On Court caught up with head coach Rowan Robinson, and he was far from happy with the team's performance as they bid for the league title.
We won in 2018. Last year, we should have done much better than the way we finished last year. But as I say, it's a stepping stone. We had some young players who had to learn the rules, who will put the ball in their hands the first time, playing in the National League under that pressure as the top players. So the pressure got to them, you know. So told them this year, getting some more senior people into the squad to talk to them a bit. So the chemistry started building a bit. You know, we just needed to focus more, train more, and so forth. But we had a few players, you know, so like Richmore Morris and so forth, Adib Vernon, Millis, Dante, the Millis brothers, and so forth, Calvin Malcolm. So they train right through. They keep training to make sure that they're ready because they are the base of the team. Despite having many talented and exciting players in their squad, Coach Robinson believes that the poster boy of the squad is 17-year-old Richmore Morris, a student of Excelsior High School. He was the architect behind their mid-season success, scoring 16 points in their 60-44 win over Upper Room Eagles.
It was a really good game of train, and for me, I train a lot, so no pressure for me. And for I listen to the coach, it's easy up every time. So basically, I train every single day, so for me, it's just second nature. For me, get back, play defense, because I know I work out, I train every day, so I believe in myself, I have the utmost confidence. So.
The team is much more experienced, and the senior players have blended with the youngsters, which makes the squad a formidable one. But Coach Robinson is still looking forward to more from the youngsters. This, he added, will strengthen the support of the team from the Vineyard Town community.
He's a representative from high school, Excelsior High School. He's there from 8th grade, and we've been through a lot, a very lot. He's very gifted, you understand. It's just for him, as I said before, just to make sure that the technical part of the game, and he's a bit selfish also because of his ability, and that it gets him in trouble, and he has an high turnover rate when he does that. But once you settle down and that, to understand, you don't have to score 30 as long as your team win, especially in this league. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You are Richmore Morris. The target is on our back right now. You understand? We're on the top of the league, so going forward, there's no easy game. Night in, night out, we have to make sure that we come in and ready to play. We can't take a day off like that. And it all starts from training, as I was trying to pour on them. So there's a lot of things that we need to work on, and we just need to stay focused again. The task at hand with the championship is the real trophy that we want again. To make it our third. We are 3 from 4 with the NBL title and so forth. So we want this one.
Last year we far short, didn't win the league mid-season, neither the other championship. So we're just trying to win everything this year. Hey, I have utmost confidence in my team. We're all trained together. If we get the chemistry right, no team can stop us.
And that's where we leave the courts for this week. Until next week, same time, same place.